Lionhearts, it's your old pal Jordan the Lion, coming to you live from my family's home in Ohio. Had to run upstairs and grab my camera real quick because I looked out here and my grandpa and Jaw were out here walking around, but I think they went for a little bit of a walk, so I'm gonna get my shower and we're gonna go visit my mom and go out to eat. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. That's right, we're here, we finally made it. It was a long day of traveling last night, but I'm super happy to be here and get to hang out with my family for the next couple of days. We have a lot of plans together, a lot of epic places that we're gonna go together, and it should be fun. I'm actually gonna, I think, go up to Michigan and visit my brother while I'm here, so should be a lot of fun. And I have to go get a shower now, get rid of this head, so we will see you guys in a few. I'm seeing this on the refrigerator, and then I'm seeing this. I'm starting to wonder if my 90-year-old grandpa's gotten into weightlifting. Alright, my mom made me some ham salad, which is one of my favorite things, so I'm gonna have a ham salad sandwich before we head over there, because we're gonna take her to lunch, but she already ate, she said, so there's my grandpa. So this trip's actually gonna be pretty cool. You know, last night I was complaining about like the cost of the rental car and everything. So the reason that I got a Jeep Cherokee was, just so you guys know, I was trying to basically get the cheapest thing available, and they were going to charge me $38 for a Chevy Volt, or whatever the small compact Chevy car is, or $4 more per day for a Jeep Cherokee. And I just figured, you know, with my grandpa, my mom, and everybody coming and going, and I knew I wanted to do some vlogging that was outside of our area, so I said if I can talk any of them into going, I want to have something that's kind of roomy for them. So I think that was a good decision, because I've now talked my mom into doing the vlog with me tomorrow, and then the next day my grandpa and I are gonna go to a completely different section and we're gonna do a vlog there. And then this weekend I think I'm gonna go and visit my brother, and he and I are gonna do some vlogging. So and then I think hopefully at the end of all of this trip I'm hoping to end up in Columbus again to visit my friends Adam and Seth, and we'll probably do some vlogging over there. So there's gonna be a lot of really good stuff, and I'm actually really excited because I had planned all this stuff out before I came, and I was like, you know, if nobody wants to go, I'll still do it, just because I've always wanted to like kind of see and vlog this stuff. But it's really cool to know that I was able to talk them into to doing it. I mean, I guess weather permitting. It's been pretty hot around here, they said, but lately they said that the forecast is looking like it's gonna be in the 50s here, so we might get rain. And not that anybody wants to see that guy, but there he is. Hanging out with Papaw. Let Jaw in! Let him in! We just came outside to let Jaw play for a little bit, and it just started raining, and now he's out rolling around in the grass in the rain. He's not used to getting to play in the rain. Look at him. What a nut. What are you doing, knucklehead? Well, my mom was telling me that downtown Troy has kind of changed. I don't know when I'll have time to come see it, so let's go do it now. I always love these houses. So let me tell you a cool little story about this area. I actually used to work right here at this restaurant right here. When I worked here, it was called Taggart's, and the guy who owned this restaurant and this building, probably still does, he used to have us like kind of move things around, and he owned the whole property. And one day I was going up the stairs and there was an old ballroom that's actually up, I believe, basically the stairs were in between the restaurant, and he owned this studio. It used to be a bread house, but there were stairs right behind there, and when you took it up, there was actually this really great ballroom. And when I was in a band, one of my dreams was always to film a music video up there. I wonder if that ballroom's still up there. Now, it definitely looks a lot different than when I worked here, but I worked here for like 2 years until, because my sister and I both worked here, until the local music store moved over to here, and I was friends with that guy, so he actually gave me a job. So for many years, Sound City Music was there, and that's where I worked for, I think, 2 years until I graduated. Here's a little information center for how to get around Troy. When I was growing up, we didn't have anything like this because most of the businesses had been here for so long, everybody already knew where everything was. Now, when I lived here and I worked here at that restaurant, this is actually right next to it, David Fair on the Square. This guy was really nice. He was an interior decorator, and now it looks like he's pretty much taken over most of the area because he actually has this over here, and then what used to be the music store that I worked at is now his art gallery. Man, times have changed. And here's our town square, which a lot of people know our town basically by the fact that, unless they changed it, this circle that everybody is driving around, it's the only one of its kind because it's the only one that you let the traffic that's already in there go. That used to be the case. Like once you entered it, the right-of-way was different than any other town square anywhere in this area. So people would always get confused and there would always almost be a wreck up here when I was growing up. Now usually they have a fountain right here, but it looks like they've got the fountain shut off. Whenever I think of my town of Troy, Ohio, this is just like one of those things that I'll never forget, this train that's coming through here. I remember when I was a kid, my mom and I waiting out here at one point because President Reagan was supposed to come through on a train and stop and come off and make a speech, and something happened with the timing where they weren't able to stop, so we just saw President Reagan like riding by on a train waving to us. This Tonka's sign up there, I remember that as one of my earliest memories ever of childhood when my parents would bring me down to the square. I remember always seeing that there. And that's been there, well, I'm 37, so it's at least been there that long. She's definitely right though. So much has changed, I don't recognize almost any of these businesses. Well, I never knew this. Check this out. It says Civil War Armory and Recruiting Headquarters in 3rd story, 1861, 1865. I knew a girl who lived on the 3rd story here at one point. I don't know if they still are, but they were apartments, and she actually caught the place on fire. Yeah, I think it was shortly after we graduated, she was burning incense or something and caught her apartment on fire. Man, it goes back to the Civil War. Pretty cool. And here's what the building looked like in 1918. Pretty much the same. It wasn't white then, but it's laid out and structurally and architecturally all the same. Now, if I remember right, I think this was a shoe store. I always have loved that kind of, I don't know why, but that like weird, like kind of cube glass tiling. When I lived here, I think, looks like it's a salon now, but I think it used to maybe be a shoe store, if I remember right. Now I know it's not here anymore, but one of the last times that I came here, they had a gigantic statue of Abraham Lincoln and a guy that looked like a golfer. Like somebody once told me, said it was supposed to be like Jack Nicklaus or whatever. These gigantic oversized figures like right on the courthouse steps. And it was a temporary thing. I never really did figure out what it was all about, but if I can find that picture, I'll post it here and show you what it was. I mean, all in all, I think all the changes are for the better and it does look nicer than it was, but you always want your hometown to look like your hometown. But I guess some things never change, and the Mayflower is one of them. As long as I can remember, this has been on the wall, the Mayflower. Never in my life have I ever been able to figure out what it was all about. But when I worked over at the restaurant that was straight over there that I showed you when we started over here, days that I didn't have to work, I would still come up here with my sister when she worked and hang out, and they used to have a bench, like a park bench right in here, and I used to sit there, and I had bought Howard Stern's Private Parts, the book, at like the $1 used bookstore around here, and I used to sit there and read it until I got through it. That probably tells you a little something about me. I think I was probably a freshman in high school when I was reading that. And actually, where I bought the books, right there, right across the street, Roundabout Books. Free plug. Now it does look like they might have refreshed the paint on this, and maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe there was always something different here, but it always felt like it was this same style of thing. And I'm seeing now they have a plaque over here commemorating it from 1990. But like I said, I feel like it's been here a lot longer. Maybe they just freshened up the paint a little bit. There's the front. I used to see almost all of my movies here because you could go for a $1.50 matinee. That's about all I could afford then. Now the top floor up here, unless it's changed, and I don't think by the looks of it, it has, this was our Masonic Temple. Hustle, desire, win. So right here where this law office is right there, that place used to be my favorite place in town. When I was growing up, that was the baseball card shop. And I used to spend just about every penny I had from an allowance there and got into trouble many a times for it. Many a times. It was called Harry's Baseball Card Shop. So over here is the courthouse, and right over here is actually like right pretty much here on these steps is where they had the Abraham Lincoln and the golfer statue, which, like I said, I never really could figure out what that was all about, but it's kind of cool to see and get my picture taken with it when it was here. We have to go check out and see what this face over here is all about. I've never seen that before. And I actually don't know what that ever was. I forget. I want to say it was like a firehouse, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm not 100% sure on that one. This is the face I was talking about. I'm like, what is that? I've never seen that before. I know they've redone a lot of the levee up here, so it's probably a good opportunity for us to take a look at it. Wonder whose idea this was. Man, this holds a lot of memories. We pretty much always drove over this bridge to get to school because the junior high and the high school were over there. And from the smallest time, or the youngest time that I can remember, I remember they would always have the strawberry festival, and they probably still do, on this side on the banks over here. And during the strawberry festivals they would have like hovercrafts out here racing up and down the river. But also it snows a lot here in Ohio, and one of the things that my parents always used to take us to do is, you can see that the levee over there has a kind of a hill to it. This is where we'd come sledding. Now, I don't even need to go by the high school, because the last couple of times I've been in town and I've checked out the high school, it doesn't even look anything at all like it did when I went. They've changed it up so much. Even the how people enter and exit the building, I think, is completely changed. It just doesn't even feel like my school anymore. But you know, that's why we vlog, is maybe I will show it, but we vlog to capture, you know, things before they change. So that will probably fall into what we see tomorrow. You know, I always loved this courthouse, and so it probably is no surprise that I have such an interest in architecture when you get to grow up next to something this cool. That definitely looks like the kind of buildings that we were seeing in London a couple of weeks ago. Okay, I have never in my life seen this. I've never ever noticed this. Sheriff's House and Jail. It's right next to my old baseball card shop. Sheriff's House built in 1826, jail in rear built 1830. So that's the old Sheriff's House. Let's go around back and see if they have any remnants of the old jail. So that's our side view of the building, so you'd have to guess that the jail was probably right in here, right? One of the unique things that Troy, where I'm from, has to its credit was that since Hobart Brothers were from here, there are actually a few, I believe they're still standing, steel houses. And that was something they did when there was, you know, lumber crisis or whatever. And I remember going through there and just being amazed at, you know, how homey they felt for being a steel house, and how you would have to hang things with magnets. So like I mentioned, the Strawberry Festival, it's tradition for everyone to paint strawberries all over the streets here, and it looks like this law office did it to their parking lot. See, there's a remnant of a strawberry there. Oh wow, and just a few doors down from the sheriff's, we're at what was the courthouse and the log jail before that. So log jail built here in 1808. Wow. Man, this is like a whole section of our town's history I never knew about. So from the looks of the notations on the top, it looks like they turned it into an American Legion Hall of some sort at one point. Now it's empty. So there's a picture right here in the bail bonds window right next to it, showing what it looked like back in the horse and buggy days. Hey, it's Frank! So that is the front of the Masonic Hall that we saw earlier. Pretty nice, huh? You can see it's even got some pretty interesting stained glass windows up there. Well, I'm definitely happy to see this. This was, I believe, a bank when I lived here. Now it's the local history library. You can go in there and pretty much research all of the old photos of this town, which is probably how everybody has them in their storefront windows now. And we still have some Victorian houses around here, thank God. I love seeing those. When I lived here, they never had these like corridor passageways to the square. This is all new since I lived here. Oh, they're having a sale on cookbooks, I guess, right? Whoa. So the last couple of times I've been in town, my grandpa has this place that he loves to go to on Tuesday nights to do Texas tenderloin, and he always would go with one of his best friends, actually probably his last living best friend, and that friend passed away a couple of months ago, so he asked me if I'd like to go there with him tonight, and of course I would, so that's probably what you'll see is me and my grandpa going to a sports bar tonight. So here's over where we started. This is the place that I used to work at. Now I believe it was the very top floor up here is where the ballroom was, now that I'm looking at it. And then here's another weird oddity. In this building when I was a kid, all of a sudden one summer out of the blue, I saw all these kids going up and down these stairs all the time. Like, what's going on up there? Some dude had turned the 3rd floor up here into a batting cage and had an indoor batting cage, and you could get sarsaparilla and everything. So needless to say, that became my new hangout that summer. So this is the only bench left in downtown at the square. And this is like, it's kind of sad because when I was working at the restaurant behind me, you used to see every night like people come up and sit on these benches with like a pizza, and they would just watch people drive around, and we would call them square squirrels. I'm guessing they probably don't have that many, or they got to bring their own chairs or whatever now, but it's kind of sad to see there's only one square squirrel bench left. No support for the square squirrels. A little bit of Americana right there on the mural. So I realized as I was unpacking my bags that I forgot my hair paste, so, you know, on top of all the world's problems, who needs to add bad hair to it, right? Yep, we're in Bengals country. As for the Reds, my grandpa said he didn't want to talk about it. Well, they didn't have what I wanted, but this will have to do. We got a guy hauling soybeans in front of us, and right above him is a sign that said, Y'all's Country Club. That's a great name for it. I don't think it's a country club, but
close to him. He's having trouble keeping his brakes on.
Okay. Well, you guys heard from my grandpa on that one. Well, we've made it over here, and my grandpa said every old person knows about this place, so we'll see a lot of them, and he's right. We've seen pretty much nothing but. Well, the tenderloin was pretty good. Killed that. Well, the food was great. Hanging out with my grandpa is always great. And when we walked in, I looked around and I said, am I old enough to be in here? He was absolutely right. Just about everybody that's a senior citizen in this area was pretty much here today. I guess they do it every Monday and Wednesday, so pretty cool to be included. So as we're taking off, we were driving by Buffalo Jack's, and I had to show you guys this. This used to be kind of like a joke. My grandpa used to say, hey, let's go have a buffalo burger, or let's go have an ostrich burger at Buffalo Jack's, and we'd always laugh about it. But they actually do have that stuff, and since we're here, I wanted to show you what the front of Buffalo Jack's looks like. I may have to add this as part of a vlog at some point because he's brought my brother here, and yet I've never got to come here. But you get a gigantic, life-size buffalo out front, along with a pretty cool looking Indian. And he said inside they have a big polar bear. Do they have a polar bear inside? Okay. Well, my friends, we're gonna call it a night. I am exhausted, and I haven't really recovered from our flights and everything yesterday, so my mom and I have a big vlog planned for you guys tomorrow. I think it's even bigger than she knows. I've really put a lot of work into tomorrow, so you guys are gonna love it. We'll see you all then. Thank you, Max Placencia, for becoming my newest Patreon, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night, and goodbye.